Parenting an Aries moon child is certainly not for the weak, but if you find yourself in that position, I have no doubt that on some level, you were built for it. I just don't think that there are coincidences here. And in case you wanted some extra support, don't worry, I got you. Here's what your Aries moon child needs from you most, and a few things that they certainly don't need from you. Keep in mind, you're going to want to look at their entire chart to really get the full picture, but at the very least, this is a solid starting off point. And a fun topic, because this doesn't have to just be Aries moon children. This can also be like your Aries moon partner, or your own Aries moon, and you're like reparenting. All right, let's jump in. First, we have to remember that Aries is literally cardinal fire. Aries is the striking of the match. It's initiation. It's hot. It can't even contain itself. It runs on instinct and passion. So the Aries moon child's emotional world is bold and loud and fiery and sometimes a little bit unpredictable. These are not the ones that are going to have an intense feeling and then decide to think about it and like overthink it and then hold on to it for a little while and figure out the best course of action. No, their emotional landscape in Aries requires that they find some way to discharge or expel or immediately process their emotions. Otherwise, it's simply too hot. And obviously, Aries is ruled by the planet Mars. Mars is not necessarily the most gentle of all of the planets when we're especially talking about moon sign placements. All it means is we need to get creative and find healthy outlets, find different reframes for things. It means that if you are going to get into some sort of pattern of punishing the child for behaving with spontaneity, it's not going to work. And even if it works temporarily in the short term, like they're quiet and they don't cause problems for you, it's certainly not going to work in the long term when it comes to the parent-child relationship. So my first piece of advice is going to be finding those physical outlets, whether it's actual sports that they play, or maybe it's little actions they can take when they notice they have really big feelings, like grab a pillow, yell. You have to honor the instinctual feeling first with Aries moon. Whereas some other moon signs might do well, if you teach them how to sit with something or process or speak out loud. That is a recipe for frustration with most Aries moons. One of the most beautiful things about Aries moons is they don't hold on to resentments. They don't dwell on things. If they get angry, they express it really loudly and really intensely in the moment. And then it usually dissipates. But the other piece is Aries moons love to feel independent. They want to be number one. They want to be first. They want to take the initiative. They are not ones to follow. When you are trying to have them follow the rules or do things in a predictable way, they are going to keep things spicy and interesting for you. How can you understand this about them? Understand that this is part of the blueprint of who they are and how they operate in the world so that you don't have to fight against it. You can turn little things into a game. Let's say you need help unloading the groceries after going to the market. I want to see who can bring in the most groceries bags in the shortest amount of time. Watch how that little Aries moon springs into action versus saying, I need you to do this. It's part of your chores. Making it a game is more fun. They have that competitive drive. They don't want to feel trapped. They don't want to feel restricted or restrained in any way. Aries is here to be focused on honoring the self. And while absolutely I can see how that can sometimes lead to some selfishness and perhaps learning how to honor yourself while also considering other people will be something you guys get to explore, there's something quite beautiful about that commitment to honoring themselves. And I think it starts to get really shadowy and more problematic when they feel like they have to fight for permission to do so. You might at times be tempted to say, why are you even so upset about this? Lower your voice. And again, while that might get you to that immediate goal, that immediate objective of having them be more submissive or quiet in the moment, and by the way, it's not always going to do that. Sometimes you're going to initiate a screaming match. I, for one, certainly don't ever want to get into a screaming match with an Aries moon. I will lose, but it's missing an opportunity for you and for them to learn about how to honor and really constructively channel all of those big feelings. Do not try to force them into submission, because no matter what, an Aries moon is just going to be an intense human being. I personally love intense human beings, and I will tell you that the most problematically intense human beings tend to be the ones with the deep down belief that their intensity is too much. They're firecrackers for sure, and they are going to push you. And I will say once again, I think there's a part of you that very much signed up for that. Love you all.